Hello and welcome back to our channel. In this video, I'll show you how to use the data analysis ToolPak to return some descriptive statistics about your data in Microsoft Excel. This includes the mean, the median, maximum, minimum, average, standard error, and so much more. I will not only show you how to enable the descriptive statistics, but I'll also make you understand each one separately. And if you found this video useful, please let me know by leaving a like on this video. Okay, now let's dive into Excel and let's get started. In my Excel sheet, as you can see that I have a sample of data in my first column that I want some descriptive statistics for. A useful feature in Excel that many people do not know about is the data analysis toolpack. And some days ago, a subscriber also asked me about this tool and how to activate this. So here is a full tutorial for you guys who don't know how to use this tool. The Data Analysis Toolpack is an add-in created by Microsoft to make it easier to perform different data analysis procedures. To enable Data Analysis Toolpack, go to File and More. Now go to the options. Then this pop-up will show here. You need to select Add-ins. Now here, make sure that you have the Data Analysis Toolpack option tick and then click on Go button. And here also check the Data Analysis Toolpack option and hit OK. Now, when you go to the Data tab at the top of the ribbon, you should see a Data Analysis button that appears here at the right side of the screen. Now we are ready to perform the descriptive statistics. To do this, I'll select the Data Analysis button. Then from this list, I will find and select Descriptive Statistics. For the input range, this is where you want to enter the range of cells containing your data. So I'll click on the up arrow button to the right and then I'll highlight my data and then press the enter key. Now you need to tell Excel how your data is entered into your sheet. If you have the values stacked in a column as I have done in this example, then these will be grouped by columns. If these are entered into rows instead, then I'll select the rows option here. If you also have labels at the top of your data in the first row, then select this option here. I haven't got any labels in the example, so I'll leave this option unchecked. For the output options, this is where you specify where you want the descriptive statistics to be returned. For the first option, you can enter a specific cell in the same worksheet where you want the result to be entered. The second option will enter the result in a new worksheet, and the third option will enter the descriptive statistics in an entirely new Excel workbook. I'm going to have my result entered into the same worksheet as my data, and I'll place them around here. Now you can tick the various descriptive statistics option that you want to perform. I'll tick all options to explain each one in more detail shortly. So that's this setup done. I'll now press the OK button to perform. As you can see, I now have my result entered next to my data and I'll now go through each one in more detail. The first result is the mean or average value. This is where you would add up all the values in your sample and divide by the count. In other words, the number of value in the sample. You can calculate this separately by using the average function. Underneath, we have the standard error. The standard error measures the fluctuation of sample means within a sampling distribution. A higher standard error indicate greater fluctuation. To calculate it, divide the standard deviation by the square root of the sample size. Moving on, we have the median. Say we have sorted our data in ascending order from smallest to largest. The median will be the number that lies in the middle of these values. You can calculate the median separately by using the median function. After this, we have the mode. The mode represents the value that appeared the most in the sample. The mode for the example is this since this value appeared twice. If you want to calculate the mode yourself, you can use the mode.sngl function. After the mode, there is the standard deviation. The standard deviation is a measure of the amount of variation in the data relative to the mean. The higher the standard deviation, the higher the variability. If you would like to calculate the standard deviation of a sample separately, then you can use the stdev.s function. Related to the standard deviation, we also have the variance. The variance is simply the square of the standard deviation. The Excel function for calculating the variance of a sample is var.s. Under the variance value, we have the kurtosis. Kurtosis is a measure that defines how heavily the tails of a distribution differ from the tails of a normal distribution. In Excel, a normal distribution has a kurtosis value of 0. Positive values indicate a relatively peaked distribution, whereas negative value indicate a relatively flat distribution. So I can see that my data has heavier tails than the normal distribution. Next up, we have skewness. Skewness measures the asymmetry of the data distribution. A value of 0 indicates a perfectly symmetrical distribution. If the value is between -1 and 1, but not 0, the data is considered fairly skewed. If the value is outside this range, the data is highly skewed. In Excel, you can use the skew function to calculate these skewness values separately. Moving on, we have the range. The range is simply the difference between the smallest and largest values in the data. Underneath, I can see that the minimum value is this and the maximum value is this. If you want to calculate the minimum and maximum values separately, then you can use the min and max function respectively. Next up, we have the sum. This sum function is simply the total when you add up all of the values in your data. You can use the sum function to calculate this yourself. The count is the number of value in your data. In my case, I have 25 individual values. Now, during the data analysis setup, if you have selected the KTH largest option, then you will also have this result here. In the setup, I specified 1 in the box. This means I'm asking Excel to work out the first largest value in my data. If I input 2 instead, then the second largest value will be returned, and so on and so forth. Simply, if you selected the KTH smallest option, you will also have this result here. Since I input 1 in this example, this means I'm asking Excel to work out the smallest value in my data. Again, if I input 2, for example, then the second smallest value will be returned instead. Finally, the last entry in the descriptive statistics table we have is the confidence interval value. This is the value that you can add and subtract from the mean value to calculate the upper and lower 95% confidence intervals, respectively. Alright, so that was it for today's video. You now know how to calculate and interpret some descriptive statistics in Microsoft Excel. If you found this video useful, please leave a like. It really does help support the channel. If you have got a question, write it down in the comments below. Also consider subscribing for more informative tutorials.